Glenfiddich is a Speyside single-malt Scotch whisky owned and produced by William Grant & Sons in Dufftown, Scotland. Glenfiddich means a Euro Valley of the Deer in Scottish Gaelic, hence the presence of a stag symbol on Glenfiddich bottles. Glenfiddich is the world's best-selling single-malt whisky and also the most awarded at the International Spirits Challenge. History: the Glenfiddich distillery was founded in 1886 by William Grant in Dufftown, Scotland, in the glen of the River Fiddich. The Glenfiddich single malt whisky first ran from the stills on Christmas Day, 1887. In the 1920s, with Prohibition in force in the USA, Glenfiddich was one of a very small number of distilleries to increase production. This put them in a strong position to meet the sudden rising demand for fine-aged whiskies that came with the repeal of Prohibition. In the 1950s, the Grant family built up an on-site infrastructure that included coppersmiths to maintain the copper stills, and a dedicated cooperage that is now one of the very few remaining in distilleries. In 1956 the Grant's brand launched the now iconic triangular bottle, designed by Hans Schlegel. Following difficult times in the 1960s and 70s, many small, independent distillers were bought up or went out of business. In order to survive, W. Grant & Sons expanded their production of the drink, and introduced advertising campaigns and a visitors center. In this period they also took the decision to begin marketing single malt as a premium brand in its own right, effectively creating the modern single malt whiskey category. Later, W. Grant & Sons was one of the first distilleries to package its bottles in tubes and gift tins, as well as recognizing the importance of the duty-free market for spirits. This marketing strategy was successful, and Glenfiddich has now become the world's best-selling single malt. It is sold in 180 countries, and accounts for about 35% of single malt sales. Glenfiddich is currently managed by the fifth generation of William Grant's descendants. In September 2014, William Grant & Sons agreed to acquire Drumbuie for an undisclosed price rumoured to be in the region of £100 million. Production: Glenfiddich whisky is produced at the Glenfiddich distillery in Dufftown. The water source is the Robbie Springs. Glenfiddich is matured in oak casks such as rum casks from the Caribbean, bourbon whiskey barrels from America, or sherry butts from Jerez in Spain. The distillery uses 28 distinctively shaped copper pot stills that are smaller than those now in use at most other distilleries. All are handmade and Glenfiddich employs a team of permanent craftsmen to maintain them. Whiskies: in 1937, cask 843 was filled with spirit from the stills at the Glenfiddich distillery in Dufftown. Over its life 10 consecutive warehouse masters watched over the cask. After 64 years, in October 2001, Glenfiddich's malt master David Stewart declared that cask 843 was finally ready to be bottled. Just 61 bottles were left in the cask. Special and limited bottlings Toasted Oak, Snow Phoenix 2010, Malt Masters Edition 2011 €1 present, Ultimate 38 2012 €1 present, Vintage and Private Reserves 1999 €1 present, Age of Discovery Madeira Cask 2011 €1 present, Age of Discovery Bourbon Cask 2012 €1 present, Age of Discovery Red Wine Cask 2013 €1 present, Select Cask 2013 €1 present, Reserve Cask 2013 €1 present, Vintage Cask 2014 €1 present. Liqueur Until 2011 Glenfiddich produced a liqueur called Glenfiddich Malt Whisky Liqueur that was 40% alcohol by volume, and sold in 50 centilitres bottles. Critical acclaim: Glenfiddich's whiskies have performed well at international spirits ratings competitions. The 12, 15, 18, and 21-year offerings have all rated well in the San Francisco World Spirits Competition and the Beverage Testing Institute's reviews. On balance, the 15-year whiskey has performed the best, receiving 3 double gold medals at the 2007 and Euro 2010 San Francisco competitions and a score of 91 with the Beverage Testing Institute. In popular culture, Glenfiddich was the favorite whiskey of fictional detective Inspector Morse, as well as his creator Colin Dexter. In the movie The Dogs of War, Christopher Walken is seen carrying 2 bottles of Glenfiddich 10-year-old in his luggage upon arrival to the fictional country of Zangaro. In the 150th episode of Family Guy, Brian and Stewie, Brian Griffin keeps a bottle of what appears to be Glenfiddich 12-year-old in a safe deposit box as a last drink should he intend to kill himself. On the full uncut version of the episode he confirms to Stewie that it is indeed Glenfiddich. In the 2004 film Hotel Rwanda, the lead character Paul Rusesabagina, played by Don Cheadle, bribes General Augustin Bizimungi with bottles of Glenfiddich in exchange for favorable treatment by his soldiers. Glenfiddich Awards. Since 1970, Glenfiddich has promoted the Glenfiddich Food and Drink Awards to honour distinguished writing and broadcasting in the fields of food and drink in the UK. See also, List of distilleries in Scotland. References. External links, Glenfiddich Whisky website, proof66.com aggregator of liquor ratings and reviews.